Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another standard gameplay video, this time featuring a mono black discard deck. Saffron Olive played a very similar deck to this during the, I think it was the early access event for Bloomburrow, because in Bloomburrow there are a few new discard cards and some really good synergies with them. So, and I played against it on the ladder or similar decks, and it can be very annoying to play against. So I wanted to see what it's all about. So it's focused really around a new card, Bandit's Talent. So this is one of obviously the new talents from Bloomburrow, which are classes. So it's a 2-mana class that when it comes down, each opponent discards 2 cards unless they discard a land card. So realistically, they're discarding 1 card unless they only have 2 lands in hand or they don't quite understand what needs to be done. Then you can pay a black to level it up. So at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if that player has 1 or fewer cards in your hand, cards in hand, they lose 2 life. And this is the real synergy of the deck. We try and get them to discard as many cards as possible, so they're taking 2 at the beginning of each of their upkeeps, and then we can level it up again for 4. And it says at the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card for each opponent who has 1 or fewer hands in hand. So in an ideal world, we get this up to level 3. They're taking 2 each turn, and we're drawing an extra card each turn. And obviously, the more talents we have on the battlefield, the more of this value we get. We also have another new card with Cruelclaw's Heist. It's a 2-mana sorcery, and you can gift the card. That means when you cast it, you can choose to make your opponent draw a card, and they draw a card before the rest of the effects happen. And it says target opponent reveals a hand, you choose a non-land card from it, exile that card. If the gift was promised, you may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast it. This can be really powerful, especially if they've got no cards in hand, because you can get them to draw a card and then you get to exile it and potentially play that card. Doesn't work with lands, which can be frustrating. The amount I've done this against mono red and drawn lands, and you're like, it's mono red, give me something real. Early, you probably don't want to give the card too often. You probably want to get into the hand and get rid of it, but you may want to if your hand's not got much else going on. You know, yes, they draw a card, but you're going to be taking their best card, and it can probably really work in your favour. And the rest of it is older cards, but still with a heavy discard theme. Hopeless Nightmare, a 1-mana enchantment, comes down, each opponent discards a card and loses 2 life. And you can pay 3 and sacrifice it, and whenever it's put in the graveyard, you squire 2. So a great 1-mana play. Liliana obviously is a great card, acts as removal and causes your opponent discard a card. Hostile Investigator from Big Score comes down, target opponent discards a card, and whenever 1 or more players discard 1 or more cards, investigate, only triggers once each turn. That does include you as well. Whenever you discard a card, you get a token, so it's a great way to get some additional card draw. 2 copies of Rankle's Prank, 4-mana sorcery, and you can choose 1 or more. Each player discards 2 cards, each player loses 4 life, each player sacrifices 2 creatures. So this can be a mini board wipe. It also has a symmetrical discard 2, and if we've got more life than our opponent, getting them to lose 4s could be a good idea as well. And then we have Painful Quandary, which I never actually got to play in any of the videos, but it's a 5-mana enchantment. It says whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player loses 5 life unless they discard a card. So again, they choose to discard or they lose 5 life. 5 life is no joke, so it soon adds up. And the rest of the deck is basically removal to help us get to the long game. Cut down, go for the throat. Deadly Cover Up is our sweeper of choice. And then I've got 4 copies of Virtue, which is great against the mono red decks with Cacophony Scamp and Heartfire Hero, which deal damage based when they die based on their power. Because this reduces their power, chances are they're not going to do any damage, and the life gain is helpful as well. You could put in more go for the throats and cut downs, because one of the problems with Virtue is it's not sorcery speed. It's not instant speed. So against some decks, like there's a Urabras Forge deck going around, which this can't remove the token because they attack and sacrifice on the same turn. But if the game does go really long and you can get the Virtue itself down, it's a great way to finish out the game. Mana base, 20 swamps, 2 fountain imports, a great way to create some extra tokens for blockers, and we can even sacrifice those tokens to draw cards, and Mishra's Foundry as a alternate win con or blocker if we need it. That's the deck. It's annoying to play against when it goes right. It's not massively powerful, as we'll see in the wrap up with the win rate. But yeah, the amount of times you get players who just scoop in once you do turn 1 discard, turn 2 discard, they just have enough. But hope you all enjoy it. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in my gameplay. Well, we don't have any discard before turn 4. They've mulliganed. Mono red. Let's do that now before it does more than 1 to us. They've plotted a show off. Let's get them discarding. They pitch a monstrous rage, which means they must have another one. We're taking 8, but they are empty-handed. So we'll virtue the show off and level up the talent. Let's get down the Investigator as a blocker. I would quite like removal. Maybe we can find it from them. No, just land. Virtue's a good draw. I'm hoping they don't just one-shot us now. So we know we have one more land. Well, let's get Investigator, cause them to discard. And let's get him to discard that last card. now we're reanimating 2 things a turn. They might have had enough. It's always funny seeing mono red players do stuff like that. Get annoyed when they don't win. It's a shame because this was a really good game and quite a close one as well. Yeah. They finally decided to do something. See, that's actually a really good draw. We'll get an investigator back, and we will get a hard by hero back. And we will play out a talent. And level it up. So this game is not actually over. It's not far from being over, I don't think. Yeah. They attacked. We jump with the investigator again. Bring it back. Bring back something from their graveyard as well with the 2 virtues. And they'll go down to 4-1, sorry, at the beginning of our next draw step. And we would have drawn 2 extra cards. So yeah, a really good game showing the power of the deck. Well, let's hope they're playing mono red. Mono white rabbits. Let's have a look, shall we? No, Boros. They just don't have any red mana. But we will take the Forge. Oh. I mean, we didn't have any lands, so I'm not sure why they scooped. They still had a pretty good hand. On the draw, with plenty of discard and removal. They pitch a Sunfall, so probably a blue-white control deck. Oh no, mate, a green-white? They pitched a Sunfall, they played a Forest and a Mountain. Oh, so Domain. It looks like the deck that CGB played. We'll pitch the 2 Virtues. Let's give him a card. Just 2 lands. So they might hold on to their lands. Well, that's an issue. But that's a solution.
This is my home, and I don't appreciate it when people touch it. One of your friends has to leave. I know when I'm not wanted.
Fine, let's level up. And we'll just keep Hopeless Nightmare in hand. Not quite sure why there's a stick here. It's for their fabled passage. We have to be worried about the restless ridgeline. Need to find removal or a blocker for it. Well, there's a blocker. Let's get that last card out of their hand with the Nightmare. And we'll get down the Investigator. Well, if they don't remove the Investigator... Oh. At least we had the cover up. If we draw a Go for the Throat, we can kill a Traxxer, swing in, they have a bind in. The issue is that Archangel of Wrath. Top deck in a Troxer when that's all they needed. Now they're just going to leyline our Bandit's talent. We've got a pretty decent hand. Only one black mana though, which could be a problem later on, but I'm sure we'll draw more. Got a couple of discard spells, removal. Let's see what they pitch. Cut down. Do need that second black source. No pitch and Aclazots. And yeah, that just tipped him over the edge. On the play with some discard and some removal, Would have liked a 1-drop though. Well, they mulliganed. Well, let's get them to discard. Hunter's Talent. Well, let's play out Liliana.
Something suspicious is going on. And for what?
Obviously, chances are they have a haste creature.
Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
We can get the drop the investigator.
Knew this was a waste of time.
Well, let's just get them discard again. Take out the big sword master. Next turn we can Liliana and minus, and then level up the Bandit's Talent. Tick up, either they have to use it or lose it.
But I'm taking the credit when we win. You won't be outsmarting me.
We'll hang back. They just pass. Well, let's see what they've got. You can get rid of that land.
We all have things we'd rather forget.
Yeah, we would have taken out their Swordmaster token and then obviously kept their investigator back on defense. And yeah, they would need to a top deck removal or interaction of some kind, because we just carry on ticking up with Liliana. Hello Magic fans, and welcome back to the wrap up. So as I alluded to in the deck tech, the win rate for this deck isn't fantastic. It might be better in best of 3, although I don't think Saffron Olive played it in best of 3 when he played it in the early access event. But we played 20 times, 35% win rate, a lot more on the play, but even then the win rate's not fantastic. I think one of the reasons is it's, even if you have a perfect curve of turn 1 discard, turn 2 discard, turn 3 Liliana and discard or remove a creature or whatever, against the real aggro decks they only need 1 or 2 creatures, and you know, causing them to discard 3 cards, they still might have that Slick Shot Show Off, or that Monetary Swift Spear, or that Half Eye Hero, and buff it out the wazoo, and then it's hard to take out. There are games where it works 100%, more so than just annoying your opponent into scooping, and some of the videos show that. But it's almost there. There's one game where we got our opponent down to 6 life, and we had a investigator on the battlefield. We would have attacked. Then the next turn they would have taken to Bandit talent, and they topped out a Traxxer, and they draw 4 cards and suddenly have a 7/7 life linker. There was another game very similar where they top deck the blue season of the Burrow, or whatever it's called, and causing them to Season of Warden, I think it's called, causing them to draw 5 cards. And again, any card draw ruins this deck essentially, which is a shame, because it's annoying to play against, and it always seems to work whenever you play against it, but it doesn't seem to work all the time. But it was fun when it worked. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.